So we sold 6,000 cars that year, and I started driving, 700 horsepower supercars that the dealership was paying for.
So I want to circle back to the conversation. So you're on fire. You're reprogramming your mind. You're going through a couple hours a day of personal development, of self-growth. You go back and you work at the car lot. I am sure I worked at a car lot when I was 19, 20, and 21. I can tell you the things that went on there, like they belong in like the dark section of the bookstore, right? Like
Vegas, baby.
yeah. I mean, we got things going on in the restrooms, in the shop. We got stuff going on over in the closet. Like the culture there was make a lot of money and drink so much that you don't remember anything. Always let the customer drive the car. How
Right.
like so you start changing this. You go in there on your mission and you start attracting some people to you. What was the response you got from the people that were above you at the dealership? I mean, sure, you're making sales, you're growing, but how did things start happening?
So the store that I went into, I was blessed. The store that I went into was owned by an incredible gentleman who had some real family values, and so it was a family values hometown country store is what it was. It had wood panels on the walls. They had lawn tables and lawn chairs in the showroom. They've been selling 110, 120 cars a month for the last 50 years. Third generation owners in a podunk little town. So it didn't have the, you didn't have the cocaine runs in between the car deals. You didn't have a whole lot of that. But we did have a whole lot of Carhartt overalls and flannel shirts and some good old boys that were working in that place. And so I showed up dressed like I am today, which is in a jacket and a tie. And I wore a jacket and a tie every day when I was in that dealership. And very quickly, I had one of the gentlemen, he's a good friend of mine now. And so don't take this the wrong way. He's got a sense of, I have a sense of humor, and so does he. But he took me around the side of the building talking one time. I'd only been there a couple months selling cars. And he said, "Boy, you keep wearing that tie around here, we might just hang you from it."
Wow.
And I was like, okay. But guess what? The tie didn't come off. It didn't come off because that told me, okay, if he's paying attention, because he's just a good old boy, right? If he's paying attention, they're paying attention. If he's feeling that kind of pressure, then we're doing something right. We're about to crack this thing. And so I just laser focused, bro, head down. Don't get in my way. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make an impact. And that mindset alone, like I didn't get anybody else's way and nobody got in my way. I did me, and it wasn't long. They saw it quick and were like, "All right, bro, we need you, help us. So they were new. They had been in the business forever, but they were new owners. And so the timing was perfect too, right? Like, Bill Gates and those guys, the reason they were able to build their wealth was timing. Timing is everything. Colonel Sanders, if Colonel Sanders tried to release KFC chicken now, tried to start that company, he'd go broke, dude, because now we're in a world of vegetarians and no counting calories, but his timing was perfect. He brought fried chicken to the market right after the war, and families weren't having the home cooked meals and stuff anymore the way they were before. And so the timing was perfect. And so for me, the timing was perfect to get in this dealership because they were looking for change. They didn't want to do the same thing their dad had done for the last 30 years. They didn't want to end up like him. They wanted to create something new. So when they saw the spark and the fire in me, they continued to breathe into that. Now I blew their mind consistently because I'm a visionary and the owners are more analytical. Plus they only knew what they knew too, right? They were programmed a certain way. So when I would say something like, "Okay, we're going to sell 200 cars next month," they're like, "Dude, we haven't sold 200 cars in 50 years. I'm like, "Cool. We're going to sell 200 next month. And then we're going to sell 3 and we're going to sell 4. And You know, I remember going to the owner and going, all right, we're going to sell 6,000 cars this year. He says, dude, you sell 6,000 cars. You can pick whatever car you want to drive as a demo. I'm like, bet. So we sold 6,000 cars that year. And I started driving, you know, 700 horsepower supercars that the dealership was paying for. And then 2 years after that, I'm like, we're going to sell 10,000. They're like, dude, we don't even know what to do with you anymore. Just whatever you say. And we went out and we sold 10,000. You know, I told them we were going to sell 1,000 cars in a month. They're like, you're crazy. We sold 1,000 cars in a month, you know. So they never necessarily agreed with me, but they also never got in my way. And I think I established that pretty early. Like, you don't want to get in my way.
Well, that's awesome. When the guy pulled you around the side of the building, you could have had a couple responses. This goes back to taking responsibility, right?
Sure.
You can't control his actions, but you can
Right.
control how you respond to him. You didn't get upset. You didn't yell. You didn't throw punches at him. You didn't quit your job. You didn't say, I can't take this. You didn't say it's not fair. You said, cool, I got some haters. Because you and I both know when you have haters, you're headed in the right direction. Just like you said, they're paying attention. They know what you're doing and they don't like it, which means you're changing things.
Yeah, no doubt.
There are a lot of people out there who do like it and they're paying attention too. You put your head down, you went to work, and before you know it, this is what happens. Like there's a quote that I can't remember right now, but at first you're hated, right? And
Sure.
then there's some indifference, and then all your opposition actually morphs into support.
No doubt.
Like that's, if you just keep driving the path, which is exactly what you did.